I bought these tomatoes yesterday at Andy's Produce. This whole box of Roma tomatoes was $10. So I'm gonna wash them, core them, and then cut them in fourths, throw it in a pot and cook them down and can my own pasta sauce. So this box, I don't know how many pounds. It says 25 pounds, but that's what the box carried. I don't know if these are actually, I don't think this is 25 pounds. I think it's like 15 pounds. So I did the same thing last week from Andy's, but it wasn't Roma. It was like, what was it? Just regular big tomatoes. They call them canning tomatoes. They're just tomatoes that had flaws in them. They didn't want to sell individually. What are you doing, Robert? All right, so the cat's watching. And so last week when I did it with the big tomatoes, it only made 6 jars. So Roma tomatoes have less liquid, so I'm hoping it's gonna make a lot more sauce. So I'm gonna just do a video of seeing how much sauce it makes and a quick step-by-step on how I do this. So like I said, first thing I do is wash them, core them, quarter them. Washing is important, especially when you have nosy cats. These are the tomatoes quartered. I mean, I still have a bunch more to go. I just wanted to show you. I leave the skins on. I will strain it through a sieve. Is it called sieve or sieve, honey? A sieve later to get rid of the skin. So you can always peel them first, but I just prefer the sieve method. And when you boil it in a pot, add like 2 inches of water so your tomatoes don't scorch on the bottom of the pan. This is the food mill I use to get the tomato skin out of the tomato juice. As you can see, it's been cooking for a couple hours, and now I just scoop it into here, and there's a pot underneath, and I twirl this around and it pushes all the juice out into the bottom, and then I put the skins to the side, and I will actually dehydrate the skins to turn into tomato powder. But this is basically just to get the skins and most of the seeds. I'll miss a couple seeds, but for the most part, it gets 90% of the seeds out of the tomato sauce. If you really can't stand seeds at all, then you could pour the whole pot in, but I'm not, because that's a huge pot. I just do a scoop at a time until there's no skins left floating. It's a little time consuming, but I enjoy doing it, not a problem. Good morning, it is the next day. And that box of Roma tomatoes that I got for $10 made 12 jars of tomato sauce. I did not do as much video as I expected. I just got so busy working on this that I kind of forgot. So it was kind of like the worst tutorial ever. So I will tell you, whenever you're canning, it's great to watch YouTube videos, but you always need to have a Ball canning book or a different company. Ball are the easiest ones to find. You always need to have a Ball canning book as a backup, because it's your best resource. You can buy a book, or Ball actually has a website where a lot of their recipes are on it that you can get for free, so you don't have to pay for one. But I love having a physical book in front of me. This is the book I used. I followed this recipe exactly. It's just plain tomato sauce. I have made spaghetti and I have made pizza sauce in the past, but where I can it, but I want to, when you do that, you kind of limit your options. So Robert said this year, just make it plain, and then he'll season it whenever we cook. And so yes, you can water bath tomatoes. You can also pressure can, but this recipe tells you how to water bath it. And so that's the book I use. And then this is my second favorite book. As you can see, look, I have all these Post-it notes in it of recipes that I've done, of recipes that I'm going to do. So always, it's great to watch YouTube videos, but just to be on the safe side, double check that. And so, and yeah, as you can see, there's like water spots on this. I don't have like bad water. It's because I let the water, when I take it out of the canner, you lift it straight up, and that leaves a little water on it. You don't want to touch your lids. You don't want to tip it to get that water off, because you'll run the risk of food getting in between the lid and the rim and not sealing. And so that's why I get the water spots. If you've got, what's the term, hard water, you put a little vinegar in your canner, and that will help prevent like build up on your jars. I don't get that. I only get it on the lid wipe it off with a little vinegar, or some, you can wash your entire jars in soapy water if you want. I just wipe off the lid before I write on the lid the date and what it is. And so I also kept all the tomato skins, and it's been dehydrating overnight. I just turned it off. I might have dehydrated. I don't think I dehydrated it too long. So this is the crispy potato skins. Now I take it off of these sheets. I'm going to put it in this bucket. And then I'm going to crumble it up with my hands. So I have these these are just cleaning gloves, but I only use these for my when I can or cut anything up. I do not use these for cleaning because I don't want chemicals on them. These are, I have them in a bag specifically just for this process. Whenever you dry something in that you're gonna turn, like how it's a sheet like this, and you're gonna turn it into a powder, I recommend wearing gloves because this crap is sharp. I have cut my fingers so many times. This just gets sharp. So that's why I recommend wearing gloves. So what I'll do is I'll crumble it into smaller pieces, and then I have this little Cuisinart. This is just a coffee grinder. So what I do is I'll put pieces in here, I'll grind it up, and it turns it into a perfect powder. And that's how I get tomato powder, or I do that with pumpkins too. Pumpkin powder, anything that you want to turn into powder. I actually bought this to grind up stuff for spices. It works really well. I use it for powders too. I don't really drink coffee, so it was never done. I've never ground up coffee beans. I guess I could if I wanted to, but I love this little thing. It works perfectly. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that you can definitely can any tomatoes like I did last week. I didn't do a video on it. I showed it on my Insta story. I canned just the big old homegrown big tomatoes, and they were so watery, it only got me 6 jars. Roma tomatoes got me 12 jars. So, but they're not easy to find. I mean, I've been to this Andy's Produce 1,000,001 times, and I've never seen Roma tomatoes in a box before. I've tried growing Roma tomatoes, so if you want specific tomatoes next year to make sauce, I suggest growing Roma tomatoes. And it tastes really well. And so and you can see, like, here's a seed, there's a seed. You know, when I use that food mill method, you know, a couple seeds will get through, but for the most part, you know, it's a pretty good sauce. I don't mind seeds. Some people are very particular. They don't want seeds at all. I don't mind a little seeds. It just looks homegrown to me. Because, you know, when you buy like a jar of sauce from the grocery store, you don't see any seeds. To me, this just tells me, oh, it's homegrown. I love it. Doesn't bug me at all. Anyway, enough rambling. I'm going to peel this off, powder it up, and then I'll tack that on at the end of the video. This is the tomato powder all ground down, so it made half of a pint jar. I could have put it in a smaller jar, but I think I'm going to get some more tomatoes next week. So I should be able to fill this jar up next week. So yeah, that big box only made half of a pint jar, but you got to keep in mind, the powder really consolidates it down. This powder will go a long way.